there are some things you see so frequently, you fail to take note, you fail to acknowledge. The lobby of this building would be one of those things. I think the lights are supposed to be on. I think it's about 7:30 in the morning. That's right, there was a little bit of snow last night. This is where I stuffed the bodies. And here's where I put their collateral, you know. Well, you know. I had a correspondence a few years back with someone who was a retired engineer, building engineer, I think. Engineer can cover a lot of territory, but he worked with buildings in New York, and he was living in Texas when I talked to him. He, on his own, figured out exactly where I live. Because there really aren't any secrets anymore, are there? I like to talk about not revealing my place of work, but it's not lost on me that everybody's particulars are up for grabs. But anyway, he figured out exactly where I work, and he says, when you step out of your building, do you see the Long Island City building, Citibank, City Group, City whatever, CITI? And I said, well, almost. Because he was talking about this. That building with the lights on top, it's no longer called the City Building. I forget what it's called now. So it starts with an A, I think. But he was just showing off his facts and figures knowledge of all things New York with regard to New York buildings. And it was a cool conversation, actually. We corresponded for, I don't know, a couple of months, I think. And this was like a lot of people who've crossed my path in life. He ridiculed me and made fun of me for my drinking and my lifestyle and my diet and all this other shit. And he says, every beer you drink is just cutting a day out of your life. I don't know if I believe that, doesn't matter, but guess what? He died. and he was not much older than me. Like today, I think he'd be 58, if I remember right. We differed on everything. We could not have been more different as human beings, and that was what made us click, I think. He would have been a Trumpster if he'd made it that far. Listen to the birds chirp. Oh, but he, what I remember, the conversation I remember most was, I think, I mean, I know this. We corresponded around the time of the release of the movie. It wasn't Man on Wire, which was the, what I guess you call documentary about Philippe Petit doing his walk on the tightrope between the Twin Towers. It wasn't that one. It was the follow-up CGI animated thing. I think it was called The Walk. And our correspondence occurred around the time of the pre-release. Or the teaser was... the teaser, I guess you call it. That's what they call it in moviedom, right? It's like the movie hadn't been put out yet, but the teaser was out. This guy knew the Twin Towers inside and out. He'd been on every surface of it. From the roof to the sides on the, said he was a structural engineer, so he, I guess, inspected the buildings or something. I don't remember exactly what his detail was, but he knew those. He had every reason to know those buildings inside out. So when the teaser for that movie was released, The Walk, he'd looked at it for just like a half second. He's like, "That sucks. That movie sucks." One of the claims of the film was that they replicated the Twin Towers inside out. It was all CGI, of course, but he took one half-second look at the first moments of that teaser, and he's like, "That's not what those buildings look like. That's not what they look like." I think about that guy once in a while because you don't really get that you don't get this kind of random correspondence with a complete stranger anymore. Or do you? I don't know. That was like, seems like, by my reckoning at least, that seems like an early internet thing. Where if you were there, if you were online, if you were open, you could talk to anybody. It's not really like that anymore, or is it? I don't know. I'm not trying to get sentimental or nostalgic or anything, but
train to Flatbush Avenue, Brooklyn College. Approaching the station, please stand away from the platform edge.
Closing doors, please.
As I was making those last couple of minutes of video, my mind kind of woke up and I realized that my comments about the structural engineer might have come off sounding like schadenfreude or of some sort, or self-satisfaction. The fact that he died, the dude lecturing me on my lifestyle and the abuse I inflict on myself. He died. Well, I didn't mean to make it sound like anything more than irony. There's some things you just can't one-up somebody about. You can't say, well, you died. Well, I can't say that, can you? But I don't even know what happened. I just remember our correspondence ending with him basically saying, I'm gone, I'm done. No need to write back. Or, I don't know, that's how I interpreted it. That's how I remember it now. I remember, this is the way things happen in these times, isn't it? I remember he had a profile on a certain social media site. I think it was 2 years after I last heard from him that my web browser autocomplete filled in the URL to the address to his website, or to his profile. And I still remember that it was 2 years since he had last done it, was last active. 2 years had passed and nothing had happened on his public profile. Like I said, I don't know what happened. Does it even matter? I guess not. But I just wanted to backtrack and clarify that I wasn't speaking from any perspective of self-satisfaction or Schadenfreude, if you can call it that. Forgot there's one of these things down here. It's the only one I know of in the immediate vicinity. What is this at? Maiden Lane and Water. If you go up Water to 77, you will find a carousel of old payphones that have not worked in a very long time. But what's notable is they have one of them on the coin vault box has what could possibly be the last vestige of Pray, P-R-A-Y. I'll see if I can get to that today. I'm not sure how far up Water that is. Probably not that far. But there's a carousel of old Verizon payphones that is outside of what used to be, I think, an AT&T building. See if I can get to that later. A few hours later. Let's see if it's still there. Indeed it is. Proving that nobody has touched this thing this whole day. Because you really can't use anything with that thing in the way. My attitude about this job is starting to lurch toward negativity. Nothing's really changed, but I think my mind is starting to think in terms of the full-time commitment. this job really doesn't do anything for me in terms of what I guess you'd call professional development. It's weird, there's no way to not walk on the street here. Like, I don't think I'm going to be learning anything here that will apply to anything else that I might want to do in the future. Really, all it's going to prove is that I can hold a job. I have a friend who works on Water Street. I meant to message her last night. I forgot to do that. I wanted to see if she wants to meet up after work someday. Okay. My destination is farther up than I thought. That's fine. I just wanted to show the cool carousel of payphones that are at 77 Water. I thought it was closer than it appears to be. But yeah, my sentiments are not favoring my long-term staying with this job. I mean, I'd said 6 months. I don't know. It's not like I'm having a bad day or anything. I'm just looking at it realistically. I'm also not really loving the job today because I started having an anxiety moment. Well, more than a moment. I think I blacked out a certain portion of the presentation today. But I guess I'll be all right. I didn't have my pills on me. I call them my panic pills. I left them upstairs. I don't like taking them because I can't drink if I take those. You could die. I think I said before, one of the key draws for having this or any job is just to be around people again. Working almost completely on my own for 20 years really piled up on my brain, on my mind. So on that count, I'm still happy to be here. But I'm not really getting to know anybody. These are almost certainly not going to be the people I work with. I don't know who is. But let's see how the payphone is doing.
We'll see what happens over the summer.
Pretty sure this is the only one around here. My card is gone. Who does that? Actually, I'll leave 2 of these. This is one I found on the ground yesterday. It got soiled. There. That's more like it. things I do. Reminded of a Bukowski line. Forget what it was from. It said something like, I'm 54 fucking years old and I'm sitting naked in a motel room writing goddamn poetry. Something to that effect. I'll be 54 next week and I'm plugging payphone radio cards into payphones.
Train to North Avenue, 2 minutes away.
Right, I forgot about this one. I've been passing it every day now. Just forgot about it. 59th Street.